shrieks, secretly evil boyfriends, and a potentially questionable portrayal of disinformation in the media. Welcome back to the official Protagonist Ivy podcast. Today I am joined by a very special guest, my evil British twin, Yavi, who was kind enough to put on a fake American accent for all of us. If this is your first time joining us, before the series began, me and my team came together and used sophisticated, high-quality tools to predict what the quality of each episode would be like. So we're just gonna go ahead and see what our prediction for this episode was. Nico predicted that the episode would maybe be really good. The dice predicted that it would be a 40 out of 100. Now, before we really unpack those, Yivi, I know you said that you had some concerns about this episode before it came out. Yeah, thank you for having me. I think when I first heard, right, that it was going to be a Dr. Light story, and, you know, returning back to Earth, full focus on Ruby Sunday, I was really nervous, because, you know, not only do we have a shorter season, but we also have, you know, a brand new companion, an entirely different overarching mystery, and so I was so worried that the momentum that we've had, which has been amazing so far, I was really worried that it was just going to stop, like a full pit stop. So altogether, do you feel like it was that kind of momentum pit stop that you thought it was going to be? I feel like I have to see the whole season before I can officially call it. But it does feel like a bit of a pit stop. I don't think it necessarily affects the episode quality wise, but in terms of the season as a whole, it did feel like a pit stop, because it's more really of we do get moments where it's sort of is part of the larger plot, like the Doctor learning Belinda's name, things like that. But other than that, I think it more just serves as kind of like a backdoor pilot for the upcoming spinoff. So yeah, bit of a pit stop, yeah. I get what you mean, yeah. And I mean, before we go into the specifics of the episode itself, what did you think about the predictions? Do you think they were accurate? The dice, I don't think were accurate. I think your dice are a bit negative Nancy for this season. This is why you're the evil one, because you're questioning my authentic supreme tools. Okay, but you didn't think that they were that accurate with Lux. You insulted them first. Okay, fair enough. But let's talk about Ruby Sunday, our main gal of this episode. How did you feel about her return? I ended up feeling really good about it. I will say I did not feel as attached to Ruby as I hoped in season 1. But I think she's done really, really well in this episode. I really liked the companion support group in Power of the Doctor. And so here it takes it even further and really does explore just how much of your life and you as a person is changed from traveling in the TARDIS. Like Ruby says, she's always waiting for something to go wrong, always kind of waiting for the Doctor to call. And what a weight to have on your shoulders as a young woman, especially having just, you know, found your mother, having all these changes happen in your life. It's no wonder that so many companions get involved with UNIT, because it's the next best thing for what is basically a fix. And I think that's just exemplified with Ruby really, really well here. I also really liked it. I think you had a lot of great layers here. You know, you have the young woman with abandonment issues starting a new relationship. You have someone who has a second life that is just bursting at the seams of the normal real one. You have someone who has PTSD, like she says, and has anxiety and is just constantly waiting for something to go wrong, but still chasing that down when it does happen. It's just so real, and I think it's the most real connection I've had with Ruby so far, and just, yeah, I really liked it. Yeah, it really was just a great return for her, and I'm curious because I don't know if she's in the finale. I'm guessing she is, but I'm curious to see how this all, and how Ruby might all play into that. Moving on to UNIT themselves, what did you think? First of all, Queen Shirley returns. Okay. She does, yes. And so does Kate Stewart's controversially young, work inferior boyfriend. He's probably not even that young relative to Kate, but it is way funnier if you imagine that he is, and he's her controversially young boyfriend. Should be me. Okay, Mood. But on a more serious note, like, what did we think about Unit? I think it was another small improvement. I mean, I think at the very least it felt like Unit is actually like doing something. I don't know how to feel though about all this stuff like with Kate and her sort of like becoming kind of corrupted and kind of bad. I do wish it was more present, I think, because when I think back to her where we've seen her before with like Power of the Doctor, all that, I don't think I could piece together that this is where things like that were heading. We really only saw her be like evil in the Giggle. So I guess it doesn't feel like it's coming completely out of the blue, but I mean it might just be in the early stages of development. Like she could get worse. She could get worse, I fear. I think it's interesting seeing Shirley and Conrad both, tell Kate that she's going too far and she has to do something. Really reminded me of those moments, like with Donna and Ten, where the companion is telling the doctor the same thing. And so that's very interesting. And just in general, seeing Kate become this more paranoid, ruthless head of Unit is really something. I think it's mainly just something that's going to lead into the spin-off. So I'm mixed on it as well. But on to the world's worst boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, which is Conrad. I did not expect him to be evil. Like at least not to that extent or in that way. I didn't either. When I saw the clips and the trailers of him interacting with Ruby and saying, we're a team just like you and the doctor, I thought it was going to be more of an Adam situation where he was just kind of like stupid and selfish and trying to be somebody he's not and get into the TARDIS. Part of me wishes, like, kind of with Kate, that he'd maybe appeared sooner, so that way the betrayal would hit even harder. But I don't think that is necessarily needed because I think it's a really good thing. Like it fits so well that he would go after Ruby when she's kind of like really vulnerable post TARDIS. When the whole think tank reveal happened, I got really nervous because I was like, oh, this is a bigger switch up than I was anticipating. And so I was really worried about how it would end up landing, but I think they did manage to pull it off. There's so much to unpack too, just with typical gender dynamics, but especially with recent events and recent cultural shifts, so many of those, nice guys or good guys being radicalized or having that evil just right underneath the surface. The end bit with him and the doctor. Whoa. Whoa, indeed, because Shooty just blows me away all the time, but especially here. I was briefly confused Tism wise because he seemed to be like kind of nice showing Conrad the inside of the TARDIS, but then of course that switch into that darkness that the doctor kind of always has underneath the surface was just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Like, oh, Shooty is so good. Like, I actually feel like I was holding my breath almost so that I could absorb more of the scene. Just complete doctor. And, we don't even see that much of him in this episode, which is a shame. But my God, does he perfectly portray just the complete eternity of the doctor in the time that we do get him. Watching the doctor take Conrad down and reveal just how small and pathetic people like him are, it's not just the doctor, reminding people of his eternity and of the kind of things he gets to see and the things he's able to do and know, to showcase power. It's so much more than that. It's reaching through the screen and it's really relevant to what we're seeing today with the amount of disinformation and distrust and conspiracy theories against things that keep us safe or improve our society, like, vaccines or science, for example. And I really needed that. See my hero tackle that and cut that down and expose all of it for what it really is. I really, really needed that with everything going on right now. And I loved it. I love that scene so much. Wholeheartedly agree. I think there is some exploring that could maybe be done in terms of them doing that sort of thing with what is definitely more a military organization. But that's a lot to unpack. And so different essays for different days. Yeah. What monster thoughts? Shriek thoughts? Maybe the real monster of the episode was the podcast guys that we met along the way. Exactly. Yes. Yes. But no, I mean, great monster design. Doctor Who's VFX team, their design teams just are always so good. Always incredible. This was no different. Even though we don't see the Shriek a ton, the bits we did see of it were just so good. I mean, such a creepy design, creepy behaviors, and it really did leave like a lasting impact on me. I mean, it's not even really the monster of the episode, and it still feels like a classic Doctor Who monster. And then what were your more general thoughts as to like pacing, direction, music, etc.? I think the pacing was pretty good. There's always so much ground to cover in Doctor Who episodes, so I think for what it has to fit in, it does that really well. I mean, always, 5 to 10 more minutes would always be great, but I don't think it's necessarily like a problem here. Even the slower beginning is completely necessary because you have to build up Conrad and Ruby, and you have to have that tone that you set first so that you can completely switch it up on us later. I mean, I think if the beginning matched that busier part of the rest of the episode more, I wouldn't have been able to buy into Conrad and Ruby and the where I thought the story was going at all. And so even the pacing difference between the beginning and the rest of the episode, I think serves it really well. Agreed, yeah. Was there anything that you disliked that you can think of? I do wish maybe we'd gotten more of a hint as to what might be going on with the Earth and why the people from the future in the well didn't recognize it. Like I think that could have helped to maybe make it feel like it was more cohesive to the rest of the season so far. So altogether, a pretty good episode. Like I think I would give it an 8 out of 10 or maybe even a 9 out of 10 myself. We could settle on 8.5 out of 10. I think, yeah. Yeah, and I mean we've had a really great track record for this season so far. Oh, it's been really good, and I'm very happy that this episode was able to match and keep up with that quality and that energy, even though it's not seemingly connected so far story-wise. Well, Yuvi, thank you so much for joining me. I know that putting on a fake American accent for that long is probably a lot to take on. Yeah, thanks for having me. I mean, I'm glad that we got to do this, and I'm glad that we got to reconcile after the incident. Yeah, yeah. Story for another day. Yeah. Well, I'll extend a hand to our viewers and our listeners. I would love to hear what you thought about the episode. If you'd like to leave a comment below, tell me what you thought, and if you want to see more from me, don't forget to click below and subscribe to the official Protagonist Ivy YouTube channel. Exactly. And I hope you're staying safe, happy, and healthy. I hope you're having a great day, night, whatever time it is for you, and don't date podcast boys.